always been a rapper. I've been a hip hop artist. I started rapping when I was 15 years old. About 6 years ago, started my journey with plant medicines, and since then, my whole life has really shifted a lot. Now I do studies and work with the Yawanawa tribe down in the Amazon in Brazil. Jungle time is different.
You're in isolation by yourself, doing reshape, drinking ayahuasca alone.
I've had moments where I'm getting swallowed by a boa, feel like giving up and quitting sometimes, and you gotta just hold on tight. I've come to this point to realize anything that happens is like a blessing in disguise.
The transformation that occurred after you started sitting in ceremony is pretty profound.
The universe rewards you when you put in work. Maintaining like the trust and like the firmness in my heart that everything is moving how it's supposed to be. The meaning in life had to be in some form of service. It's a big honor and a big responsibility that I have to remember that it's bigger than just me.
King Kurt!
Very bad.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
You are one of like the most interesting, inspiring, unique humans and have such an incredible story. So for the people that don't know you, why don't you share a little bit about who you are and how you got here? Give us a little background.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, thank you for that. For sure, my story is very unique. You know, I come originally from El Paso, Texas. My name is Kurt, also known as King Kurt. Formerly was known as Kurt Kane. Nowadays known as Nai Katxa, Nai Katxa.
Can you pronounce your name again?
Yeah, the name given to me by the Yawanawa is Nai Katxa.
Nai Katxa.
Puvu.
Nai Katxa Puvu.
Yeah. And now my new artist name I'm going with is just Nai Katxa.
Nai Katxa. I like that. That's tight. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I grew up in El Paso, Texas. I left El Paso at 14 as a runaway, and I ended up here in Nevada City as a ganja farmer and in that industry for a while, and then started making hip hop at around 15, 16, 17, you know, at a young age. And yeah, in many different worlds, sat at many different tables. I was also, you know, I've been through crazy phases like in my 20s of a lot of partying, drugs, alcohol, the whole nine, you know, a lot of people been through that. And then, I went and got my sobriety about 9.5 years ago, almost 10 years ago. And then, about 6 years ago, started my journey with like plant medicines, and since then, you know, my whole life has really shifted a lot, and now I do studies and work with the Yawanawa tribe down in the Amazon in Brazil, and you know, now it's a whole nother world that I wasn't ever really expecting to come to me, but you know, it's a very short summary of my life, you know, with many chapters in between.
We've known each other for a while. How long have we known each other? For like
You were
11
pregnant
years,
with Maya.
12 years, 13 years.
Yeah, you were pregnant with Maya when we met.
Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, so I've seen many different phases of you, and it's pretty incredible. I mean, you were amazing always. Even in your crazy party times, you were still super dope. But the transformation that occurred after you started sitting in ceremony is pretty profound. What was your first ayahuasca experience like? How did that experience change your life?
You know, so my first one was actually on my 30th birthday, so only about 6 years ago, just over 6 years ago. And, you know, it was funny because I was talking to one of my homies, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to an ayahuasca ceremony. And he's like, oh, for real? You're going to drink ayahuasca? He's like, bro, I drank ayahuasca one time and I got eaten by demons for like 5 hours straight. Then he looks at me, he's all, it's probably going to happen to you. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, bro, don't put that on me, you know? So I was super nervous. I was hella nervous going in. I was like, oh, man, here we go. And then drank the medicine. It was with some Indigenous, with the Queen tribe, and then everything was cool. I'm just seeing little colors and patterns, but I was still nervous the whole time. I was like, okay, so when are the demons gonna come? You know, I was super nervous, but it never, you know, that never came. It was super fine, and you know, that kind of started it all. And yeah, so that was my first experience. And then on my second experience is kind of really when the doorways opened. I was down in Costa Rica at a retreat and we drank medicine, and it was during that time that I felt like the medicine actually like kind of called for me and told me like, hey, you need to sit with me more and spend more time with me. And I was just kind of like, okay. Sure, let's see. And then from that moment, kind of like all these doors just started opening and leading me to more ceremonies, more community, and then down to the Amazon and meeting with the Yawanawa, and then, you know, everything else. Yeah.
It wasn't like one profound ceremony. It was kind of just like little breadcrumbs that led you into this deeper life path that you're now on.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I feel like the whole journey is step by step, you know? So it didn't happen like one just great big ceremony that like blasted me awake. Of course, did have a few that were like, whoa, that was like, you know, another level. But like that first one, you know, it's very common for the first time to be fairly mellow, you know, especially when you're like so nervous and kind of have the restraints and not like
the resistance.
Yeah, you have that resistance and you're not like just in the surrender, you know. So it can be a little more mellow. So like my first one was cool, but it wasn't like like blast open and have like crazy profound transmissions. You know, it came like as a step-by-step thing and learning and integrating and everything, you know.
Because I'm just trying to understand, because I've sat a bunch of times. I have friends that have sat like hundreds of times, but your path and story is so different. You went so deep. You are so deep in it to the point that you go down to the Amazon for what, 4 or 5 months at a time?
Yeah, about 3 months at a time.
3 months at a time. So how did you get to that place?
You know, I had been getting more on my path, been sitting in more occasions. It turned from like, you know, like my first time I sat. Then from there, it was a whole year before I sat again. It was actually on my birthday again.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, you know, I said the second time, it felt like the medicine really called me, and then these doors. So then after that, by then it was just like a couple months later, and then like a month later, and like all of a sudden it was just like boom,
Very
boom, boom,
consistent.
boom. The homie, he's been going down there for several years and studying music with the Yawanawa, and he invited me to go down there. And I was just like, you know, it's not every day you get invited to go to the Amazon. Like, yeah, how can I say no? Let's go, you know? And so I went down there, and then that's where I met the Yawanawa for the first time and met Rasu, who I, you know, work the closest with, and
you're Rasu's manager.
Yeah, I'm his organizer.
Organizer from the Yawanawa. Well, you want to just pause a second and explain who Rasu is and his position with the Yawanawas?
Yeah, so Rasu is the youngest chief of the Yawanawa. He's only 29 years old, but he's already been a chief for 10 years or so, something like that.
He's only 29?
Yeah.
Crazy.
He just turned 29 in June, yep. And he is the successor and lineage carrier of his grandfather, Tata Natashani, who he was like the last Grandmaster Great Page Elder of the Yawanawa, who during the time of the missionaries, when the missionaries arrived in the village and was trying to evangelize them, his grandfather was put into seclusion for like 30 years because they said he was a witch and like all this stuff.
Whoa.
And he was like isolated for like 30 years, which is crazy. You know, a lot of terrible things came from when the missionaries were there. They almost lost their language. They almost lost their whole culture. They almost went extinct. The missionaries brought a lot of diseases. They were enslaving them, beating them, killing them, you know, and they were down to like only about 100 of the Yawanawa last in 1985. But then eventually they got the missionaries ran out of there. And then Rasu's grandfather re-emerged and came back out of his isolation. And during that time, you know, he had been keeping the language, the chants alive. He would be drinking medicine.
By himself?
Yeah, by himself in isolation and just like way out in the forest. And, you know, because of that, in a way it was a blessing in disguise because he was able to keep the language alive.
Wow.
Keep the chants going, keep the practice of the spirituality intact. And so he passed it all to, you know, the generation of Yawanawas that you see now. And Rasu was raised by his grandfather since he was 3 months old, with him every day. And he's who studied his spirituality with, and he's also the youngest page. Page is like what people would call like a shaman of his tribe too. He did the what they call the dieta, which is a year long in isolation. It's a super deep study into the spirituality. He did that when he was only 17 years old.
A year of isolation where? What is he?
Way out in the middle of the forest, like away from the village. You know, they have the village where all the families and everyone's living, and it's like their center home point. And then it's very far out, like kilometers away from the village, like in the middle of the forest. They'll build like just a little hut, you know, that's not big, smaller than this room, like 10 by 10 hut.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they'll live in there for like a year.
He catches his own food, finds his own, all of it
And
just like...
yeah, basically the only contact he would have was with his grandfather, who was his teacher, you know? And yeah, so it's a year of that.
His grandfather come visit him?
Yeah, his grandfather would come be with him, teach him new things, and then leave him alone in isolation for him to study it again, and like, you know, different prayers and how to do the healings and just different, you know, all the everything that comes with being a page. And
was he drinking ayahuasca during isolation?
Yeah, like every day almost.
Drinking ayahuasca every day.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy. That sure will level you up.
For sure. So it was, and he was so young. You know, a lot of the tribe, they weren't doing it until they were like in their 30s or 40s, you know.
Wow.
And he did it, he was 17 years old.
Wow.
So he's the youngest of the tribe. He's the youngest chief, youngest page. Wow. And if you ask him, he'll say, I'm not a page. He's extremely humble. But in the eyes of anybody that sees him and sees his healing capabilities and how he is and the force that he carries, he's very much so. But he's super humble, and he's like, I'm not a page. My grandpa, now that was a page. You know, like that's how he is.
Yeah, Rasu's a G. Okay, so your friend called you down to the Amazon.
And yeah, so I went, and I went to a different village than Rasu. Rasu lives in a village called Mutum. And then I went to a different village called Aldea Sagrada, the sacred village. It was a different chief. You know, they're along a river around a whole territory with like, nowadays there's like about 15 or 17 villages. Each village has their own leader and chief and kind of conducts their own affairs in the village. So it was Chief Nishiwaka, his wife Putani, her birthday festival. Now Putani is also amazing. Putani and her sister Hushahu were the first women ever to do this Muka dieta that Rasu did the year in isolation. Oh. They were the two first women. It used to be traditionally only the men could do this.
Oh, wow.
And they talked to Rasu's grandfather, and they're like, look, we really want to do this. And, you know, we've been dreaming about it. We've been having visions of this. Like, we really want to do this. And he's like, okay. And he put them through these initiations as well. And so she's also very special. Her and Putani and Hushahu, they're amazing. They were the first women to become pages of the tribe. So it was Putani's birthday festival. I went there for that, and Rasu was there. I seen him all throughout the week. He was playing music and just rocking it. And I was talking with my friend Mari, who was the translator. She was the one that organized the group to be down there. And I was like, Mari, who's that? That dude's super dope. I want to meet him. And she's like, oh, that's Rasu. He's a rock star, you know? And I was like, cool, introduce me. She's like, yeah, when the time's right, you know? And then I was like, all right, cool. So it was the final ceremony of the retreat, and Nishiwaka and Putani went to bed early. They're kind of older, and they were tired after the whole week. And then they left Rasu in charge of the rest of the ceremony with all the group of visitors and everything. So he conducted it from like 1 a.m. till the rest of the night. And it was just super epic, super powerful. He came at like 5:30 in the morning at like sunrise, He brought a big thing of coals and put the sepa. The sepa is the smudge. It's similar to like copal. It's what they smudge with. He did a huge hape, and then he's like standing doing like 30, 40 minutes of like this super strong level of chant that they have called Yuvu. It's like a celestial light being that cleanses, heals, protects, like all these things. There's many different Yuvu chants. It's its own series and like kind of a level of chant, you know. There's like the regular Saitis, the traditional chants. There's Saiti Vanai, which is a level deeper and like more direct prayers. And then there's Saiti Yuvu, which is specific for calling in the spirit of Yuvu and for different things when you're working in the ceremony. And there's like also Saiti Karampa, which is about the force of the jaguar. There's Saiti Mukad, which you learn those chants when you're doing that year-long Mukad diet. So there's different levels. So yeah, he did all these Yuvu chants, and it was just crazy. I was like, what? Like, who is this guy? And then finally he closed out. He shared a bunch of wise words, closed out the ceremony. And then I was like, all right, Madi, if there's a time to meet him, like it's right now, like introduce me to this guy, you know. She's like, all right, yeah, let's go. So then we sat down, and I told him about my life and my story and all my crazy past and childhood stuff and going, you know, all my time in juvenile and then time like drugs and alcohol and everything that led me to the medicine, you know, and what led me there to be in the Amazon. And then he was like, cool, and he told me about his life, and then we seen, you know, he's like, yo, actually, after, even though we come from completely different worlds, there's still similarities within our story of things that we've been through, you know, throughout just like our struggles and things in life, you know. So that made us like connect. And, you know, from there, we built this connection, this brotherhood, and then I started working with him. I went back to his village after we traveled around, went to like other parts of Brazil, and then I went back to his village, and we had this one ceremony in his house where it was just me and him and my translator. I didn't know any Portuguese at the time.
Oh, whoa.
And it was super strong. In the first like 10 minutes, we were like,
whoa.
Full on, super strong medicine. It was crazy.
He invited you? He was like, yo, come do a one-on-one ceremony?
Yeah, he's like, come back to my village. We were traveling around in Alto Paraíso. We went to Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil. And then we went and spent 2 weeks in Alto Paraíso doing ceremonies there.
Wait, you went with Rasu? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, we traveled outside of the Amazon together.
Oh, I thought you meant you and your homie went. Oh, but you guys just like
we all
bonded
went
immediately, and he's like, let's travel.
Yeah, well, okay, so that started because during that retreat, when he was singing, he had this shitty little speaker that was so blown out and busted, and he had this little microphone that like didn't even have a cap. It was like 3 wires sticking out of the top, but he loved it, and he would always sing out of it, and it would be all distorted, and I was like, yo, this music is way too good to be like all distorted and coming out like that. This is like terrible. Like he loves his speaker, but it's all distorted. So I was like, he needs new speakers. So I was like, bro, I see how you like a little bit of technology and the new speakers and you want the thing. I was like, but this music is too good. Like, let's go buy you some actual stuff, you know? So I was like, I'm gonna buy you a new PA, new mics, new setup, you know? And he got stoked. He's like, what, for real? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you wanna roll with us to Brasilia? You can fly out with us and you can see what we're gonna get, what we're gonna pick it out, you know, get all the stuff. And he's like, all right, cool. He's like, we have a dieta group about to finish. Let me talk with Chief Matsini. So Matuma has 2 chiefs. It's Chief Matsini and Chief Rasu, you know, and Rasu's the younger one. So he's like, let me talk, you know, with the big chief.
Okay.
And then he talked to Matsini, and Matsini's all, yeah, that's a great idea. He's like, you know, when someone offers something like this, don't wait too long to accept in case they change their mind. And he's like, you for sure should go. So, but then he also is like, you know, if you're going to leave the village, you should go do some ceremonies too. So Alto Paraíso is 3 hours drive from Brasilia. where the Capitol is. That's where we went to the music shop and got the PA and all the mics and cords and everything. And then we have friends in Alto Paraíso that organize ceremonies, so we hit them up. It actually came together super quick. They're like, yeah, cool. So we spent 2 weeks in Alto Paraíso together and doing ceremonies. And then he's like, yo, I want you to come back to my village and you need to show me how to use this new equipment we got. And also I want you to meet, my family, my wife, my kids, my mom, everybody, the chief, So I was like, all right, cool, let's go back. And it was just me and him, and I brought my brother Patricky, who was my translator. We went back, and so when we were back in his village, then he's like, yeah, let's drink some medicine, And so we had that ceremony in his house, super strong. We're like filling the medicine like strong in like 10 minutes. We're just full on in it, And also rewind back to when we first sat down and met. I had actually invited him to come to Cali within like the first 5-10 minutes of talking to him. I was like, bro, you want to come to Cali? Like, let's bring this shit to Cali, And at first he was like, nah, Chai, and Chai means kind of like homie, cousin, whatever. He's like, nah, Chai, my life is here, my work is here, my family's here, all my responsibilities. Like, just because I get invited to go somewhere doesn't mean that I can just get up and go, He's like, and plus these type of things require certain spiritual permission as well for it to really happen. So he's like, for now, let's say no, but let's see, And so then fast forward, we have that strong ceremony in his house, just the three of us. And it was super strong, and then he's doing all these super strong chants again, and then they're playing music a bit, and then when the medicine finally starts coming down, we're talking, and he's like, yo, Chai, I think we received spiritual permission to come with you to California now. And I was like, oh, great, So then I started working with, my friend Mari and getting his visa. And then, that's where I started becoming his organizer. And we organized different cultural exchange events. There's Hape circles, different fundraiser events, concerts. We brought him to Lightning in a Bottle Festival, That was really great fun, Lightning in a Bottle was awesome because there was thousands of people that got to hear about them that had no idea who they were, and got to hear their message. So, now we're already coming up on his 4th trip back here to the States, so.
Now Rasu is like a little superstar.
Yeah, now Rasu, a lot of people know him around here, and they love him.
Everywhere.
His energy is
and
crazy. Everywhere,
he got
too.
nominated for a Grammy?
He was in the Latin Grammys. With DJ Alok. There's also there's a super big DJ Alok, super famous. That also, Rasu helped him a lot. Alok went to the village when he was like 17. He was super depressed. He was kind of like lost a bit, and he did a dieta with Rasu and Chief Mazzini, and they really helped him a lot. And so now, fast forward, DJ Alok is one of the biggest DJs in the world within his genre and his realm. And he's really been giving back a lot to the village of Matum, to Rasu and Mazzini, and brought him to the Latin Grammys. They were up for a Grammy nomination. They've been all over, playing at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Been with him all over different festivals around Brazil. And recently Rasu just dropped 2 albums on DJ Alok's platform. You can find it on Spotify. One of them is a whole Village of Matum collaboration with Rasu, Mazzini, Kuru, all of them, a bunch of Mazzini's daughters, and a bunch of them. And then another one is Rasu's album that has his brother Tuata and also Mani. Those just released on Alok's platform. And we also have another album of his that's releasing on October 4th under the Wise Records platform that I just also released my album under. So yeah, now he's been recording a lot of albums, making music, traveling, doing these tours, this cultural exchange, sharing about his spirituality. And
that's so amazing. Yeah, Rasu is an incredible human.
Yeah.
He is a G.
He's a G.
He's a G. So let's go back. I want to hear a little bit more about what it's like, the daily life of Matum. Is that how you pronounce it? Matum.
Yeah, Mutum.
What's the daily life when you're there?
It's, it depends. There's different phases of life within Matum. There's life in the dieta, there's life when you're there at a retreat, and there's life when you're just there in the village and you're not in dieta and there's not a retreat and you're just around,
So I feel like a lot of people don't know what dieta is, or if they do sit in ceremony, they're assuming dieta is the diet you do before sitting.
Yeah,
so
let me explain about the dieta. Dieta is not like, for those that have sat in ceremony and they do a dietary preparation and leading up to drinking medicine, this is not that. This is a deep spiritual study where you're going into isolation, and you are on a dietary restriction, but it's not in preparation to drink medicine. It's in preparation to be entering into the spirit world, to be within the spiritual studies. And you basically go, the shortest one that they have is 1 month long, where you can't drink pure water, you can't eat any red meat. You could have a little bit of chicken, a little bit of fish after a certain point of the diet. There's absolutely no sugar, sweets, there's no sex, there's no sharing anything with someone that's not in diet, You can't get served hape from someone not in diet. You can't if there's plates of food out and some people are getting that weren't in diet, you can't have any of that food. You have to prepare your own food. You have to just serve yourself hape, things like that. You're eating very little food. You're drinking very little.
You can't drink water for a month?
Yeah, you can't drink pure water for a month. Instead, what you drink is this stuff called kaisuma, which is made from yucca sava root. And it's interesting. I guess I'm going to spill the beans about kaisuma, and maybe it's going to grow some people out about how it is. It's not all made like this, but in the dieta, when you have the kaisuma, the women make it, and they boil up the yucca, but then they take the chunks and they chew them up and they spit it back in.
Whoa.
And they make this drink with yucca sava, and that's what you drink in your dieta. So you can drink up to 1 liter of liquid per day.
Wow.
And I think you start out with half a liter of liquid per day for the first 10 days, and then you also get 1 banana ball. They take the green bananas that have no sugars in them or not sweet yet, and they boil them and mash them and turn them into a little banana ball.
Wow.
And you eat 1 banana ball and half a liter of kaisuma daily for the first 10 days. Then after that, you can have a boiled egg. As each week progresses, you can start to have a little bit more food,
And you're drinking ayahuasca during this whole process?
A lot of ayahuasca, and taking a lot of hape, a lot of strong hape, a lot of strong medicine.
How often?
On average, but not limited to, about every other day, more or less. It could be it's random. There's no telling. For one, they're going to give you medicine and you're going to drink in isolation by yourself to study. But then there's also ceremonies. And you don't know, they'll just pop up on you, hey, it's ceremony today. And maybe you already drank by yourself and they're going to come find you and be like, today's ceremony. You're like, oh, I'm already having ceremony all day. But okay, now we're going to go. So it'll be all day and then you go and have ceremony all night again. And you just are studying, and it might be 4 ceremonies in a row, and then 1 night off, and then another one, then go to every other day. It's not set a schedule. It's kind of all of a sudden they decide, but it's often, and then you're gonna drink by yourself as well on top of it. So
that's crazy.
It's quite a bit.
So you're in isolation by yourself, doing hape, drinking ayahuasca alone.
Yeah.
There's no music. Studying. You don't have anybody guiding you.
You sing.
You sing. So you're stuttering the mantras, the ikras, the prayers.
How it works, right? So to enter into diet, they have this clay pot, right? And they are going to put a little bit. The first diet is the kaisuma diet. They call it mama. and they're going to put a little bit of kaisuma in this clay pot. You're going to talk with the page or the shaman, you know, like Chief Matsini or whoever's opening your diet. You're going to talk to him about what your intentions are, and then he's going to pray into it. It's about 30, 45 minute long. He's like praying into it and setting about what your intentions are and about your study and everything. And it's kind of like he's placing a spiritual seed in there.
Wow.
And then you drink it, and from the moment you drink it down, then you're officially in the diet. And it's like you planted a seed internally that you have to be nurturing during your time of dieta. And so for the first 3 days, you're gonna sit in absolute silence and isolation and not talk and not even try to sing anything, and just sit and concentrate and focus on your intentions of the diet for the first 3 days. You're just gonna sit there. And then they're gonna show up and they'll bring you medicine, and then they're gonna give you their chants are, they call them saitis, which is the same thing as what people a lot know about Icaros, you know, like from Shipibo and other things. They call their chants saitis.
Saitis.
So after the first 3 days of you being in isolation and silence and just focusing and meditating, then they're gonna come. Then you'll drink medicine and you will get past saitis to start studying. They're gonna sing them for you exactly how it is in the traditional way in the voice, and you can use like your voice recorder and you can record it, and then they'll also pronounce the words for you slowly so that you can hear exactly how it's pronounced. And then you bring a notebook and pen with you to your dieta. So then you're going to listen back when you're on your own, and you're going to write it out. You can spell it how you're going to be able to pronounce it right. You know, whatever way you need to spell it to where it makes sense for you to say it right. You do that, and you listen to it over and over, and then you start to sing along with them so that you make sure you get the melody exactly how they're doing. And then eventually you try it on your own and you're like got it memorized, and then you're singing it. And then every 3 days they're gonna come and then they'll test you, see how you're doing on the studies. If you pass, then they're gonna give you more. If they tell you you need to, you know, work on your pronunciations, work on the melody, then you're gonna keep working on it. And so it's kind of like that. Like every 3 days you come and you get classes, and then in between that you're just gonna be in your isolation and be, you know, just in this deep spiritual study. They also pass you like a Ruawakin prayer, which you do over the Sepa smudge, you know, and it's like a prayer. Different ones. They're gonna usually pass one specific to you, depending, like, you know, something about like calling in protection, giving you a clear mind, an open path, and things like this, you know. They'll give you the translation of the prayer that they pass for you. And so you practice that as well. And so, yeah, you just go through your days like this and be by yourself studying, and then get Saiti classes with them, which are kind of like little private ceremonies, you know, because like they'll come, like one of my main teachers is Kuru, who you met Kuru. He's the son of Chief Matsini.
He's a badass.
Yeah, he's epic. And, you know, he'll come, show up to the diet center, and we'll drink medicine together, and then he gives me classes, you know, he tests me, sees where I'm at, and then passes me chants. But then we get, you know, that's like about an hour until he passes me and we do what we need to do. But then we're still into medicine. So then we're like, all right, we'll drink more. And then he starts chanting and then busts out the guitar, and it just kind of turns into like a whole little private ceremony.
Wow.
You know, and so, yeah, it's super cool. And then, yeah, and then you just spend your days, you know, drink medicine, take hape, do your studies, eat a banana ball, drink some kaisuma, like...
This sounds so
it's intense.
crazy.
You know, the thing about the dieta, it's such a hardcore commitment because it's essentially almost like cursing yourself if you break your diet. That's like, it's like how you planted a seed internally. If you break your diet, it's almost like you went ahead and planted thorns for your life.
Oh, wow.
As opposed to like, if you complete and do a good diet, then it's like you are harvesting fruits for your life afterwards. So once you're in it and you make the commitment to do it, there's no turning back. And a lot of things can come up when you're drinking that much medicine, like things from your past, childhood, like basically anything that can be ready for it too. It might. And you just got to have the ultimate trust and understand that everything that's happening in the diet is a part of it, and trust the process. And you're going to want to feel like giving up and quitting sometimes, and you got to just hold on tight and like not. And you're going to be thirstier than you've ever been in your life. Whew. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Why did I sign up for this? But then you got to remember why you signed up for it. You got to focus on your intentions. You got to focus in on your studies. You know, when things start to feel negative and like this is too much, I always like to go back to singing the sites. The chants are like very healing, and they're very grounding in a way, and like get the fuss about everything out of your mind when you're just like, okay, I just need to like pass hape and let me sing sites, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I can make it through this, you know. But it's very important that you make it through that once you make the commitment, you know.
That's some like serious mastering, next level.
Yeah, they're difficult. In my opinion, I say like if your diet wasn't difficult, I'm like maybe something was wrong. If I didn't have a difficult diet where I almost felt like giving up, I would feel like, I'm like, did I do it wrong?
What was your intention initially? You said to always go back to your intention. What was your intention that initially
for
was
my
like,
first
I'm
diet?
going to do a diet? Like, what? Because I can't even...
It was to hone in on my discipline and just knowing, like, if I'm in this situation to where I know that I'm, like, essentially cursing myself if I break this, then I know, like, my discipline has to be so maxed out on point, you know? The discipline to get up every day, take my strong hape. I would do little workouts in my hut, even with little energy and hardly any protein. I'm like, no matter what, let me just do some push-ups, do some things, and do my studies, like, be very kind of, like, routine with it, you know? Like, my day would look like wake up, first thing, huge hape, boom, like before you're even fully awake, you're like, whoa. And you're like, all right, now just like push-ups and like squats and whatever for a bit. And then like, cool, I'm gonna go bathe in the creek, you know? And yeah, you're showering in a little creek that's like up to your ankles, and you have like a bucket. It's actually so refreshing. Don't underestimate the creek bath. It's so hot there, and you just like pour that bucket of water over your head. You're like, oh. So yeah, you know, do that, and then like, all right, now I'm gonna go eat, get my little banana ball and my kaisuma, and like.
And you're sleeping in a hammock.
Yeah,
right?
you're sleeping in a hammock in like a tiny 10 by 10 little hut, you know. Yeah, so my first diet, he asked what my intention was. I just told him one word. I just said discipline.
Damn. Crazy.
He's like, mom, discipline's good.
That's crazy.
Now, you know, like there will be like organizers of the diet, you know, and it's their responsibility to vet the people that are going to come, you know. And so, yeah, you know, you definitely want to make sure people are good, that they have experience in the medicine. There was one time with a different group that I wasn't part of the organization, another group of people, some girl signed up they had a retreat, and then they were doing a diet, and she signed up for both the retreat and the diet, and she had no idea that there was going to be ayahuasca until she arrived at the village. And she had never drinking medicine before.
My gosh.
She had the retreat to drink a few times before she entered diet, but
she did it
and she did okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Clearly she was just meant to do it.
Yeah, she was meant to do it. I mean, she ended up there and she did it. But, you know, typically there's an evaluation, you know. You want to make sure people aren't on
like serious mentally stable,
medications.
Though.
Yeah, you want to check their mental stability, make sure that they don't have, even if they're not schizophrenic or bipolar, like if it's in their family line, like it can kind of like come through. So you just want to like check all these things and make sure people are good to go and know what they're getting into, and, you know, understand the seriousness of the commitment that they're gonna be taking, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely it's the responsibility of the organizers, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest things you've learned from the Yawanawas?
One of the simplest but also so profound is just maintaining like the trust and like the firmness in my heart that everything is moving how it's supposed to be. And I've come to this point to realize like anything that happens is like a blessing in disguise. Like I feel like I've been able to move past the point of feeling like, oh, anything's happening to me or anything. I feel like everything's happening for me. And it's because if something gets shaken up and like falls apart and I have to redirect in my path, it's just like the universe, nope, okay, it's because you're supposed to be doing like this, you know. And You know, that's just, one of the things. Just like also doing self-analysis of my energy, checking in, making sure that I'm like staying within the path that I need to be in, you know, that feels aligned like with my inner compass, feeling like it's okay, it's on point, like focused in on my own true north, you know. And they've taught me a lot. It's a never-ending learning, like, about what I get from them all the time, you know, and how to navigate within the medicine, how to have my spiritual protection up, you know, because drinking the medicine is a serious thing. You're entering into the spiritual world, and not all the spirits are necessarily have your best interest in mind. There's spirits that can attach to you that can bring chaos into your life. So if you're not careful and you allow them in, you have to let them, kind of, you know. And if you don't have a discernment, a spiritual protection about what is around you when you're in that spiritual world and realm, then, you know, it can get a little messy.
How do you protect yourself?
I call in the protection, you know. I do visual, like putting up energy fields of protection around me. You know, I visualize that, and like just, you know, when I'm observing the spirits floating by in the spiritual world, you know, like I see stuff that I'm like, no, you can't like be in this realm, you know, with me, and like you have to kind of like allow them. You know, some people can get a little seduced by some and like let them, but you have to like really understand, you know, what it is. So they teach you a lot about how to navigate that and how to control the force.
They always do. But I've never like seen demons, or I've never seen negative entities. I hear about that, but I've never experienced or witnessed or felt.
That's good. You got good karma.
It's like I'm diving deep down into my own soul. Like I'm just doing like a deep dive and learning into my own soul from the medicine.
Yeah, that's great.
When you say you study ayahuasca, what does that mean to you?
You know, it's sitting with it. It's studying yourself too, and it's learning about this spirit of ayahuasca, you know. And also, as much as like we're you know, a human spirit having this plant medicine ayahuasca experience, the spirit of ayahuasca is also very much having a human experience through us when we drink it, you know. So it's communing with the spirit of the ayahuasca, it's speaking with it, and that also comes with a level of discernment, because there's a lot of times people will be like, you hear it often, especially in the Western world, people are like, drink medicine, they're like, the medicine told me I need to start serving medicine. And it's like, no, that was your ego telling you that you need to, and you're thinking that it's the medicine, you know, like, so.
That's actually come up. You're the third guest I've had that has said that exact thing.
Yeah.
Literally the exact sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you hear it all the time in the Western world. People are like, I feel the medicine told me that I need to serve. You're like, no, you told yourself that. Like, come on, you know. leave it to the indigenous. This comes from their culture. This is their thing. Like, let it be their thing, you know. And just many things. People are like, people might do like crazy shit. Like, I feel like I need to sell all my stuff and move to like wherever and do this and that. And it's kind of like everything that you receive in the medicine isn't the medicine or like some divine spirit telling you this. So it also takes this level of grounding, like afterwards, after the ceremony, be like, okay, so I got this message, but where did this message really come from?
Like really integrating it.
Yeah, like I'll like have a hape and ground, you know, hape is very grounding. So like then after I could like have a hape and really meditate on what it was and feel, was that just like a piece of ego or a piece of like the shadow or a piece of like something else from within me that was just telling me this, or was this really like the medicine trying to communicate this to me, you know? So it's
how do you discern between the two?
You have to ground in and feel like, you know, I feel like when when the message is coming from a divine place, it feels like a very calm sensation.
Yeah.
If it feels like a loud and intense thing, then it's more often than not probably like coming from your ego or something like this. So like it's like important to listen to the subtleties, you know, and so that you can see, and just like make sure you're fully grounded first and meditate on that, and then, you know, make a decision about what it was, the messages that you received, you know. And yeah, just studying the ayahuasca is also just getting to know like yourself within it, you know, where your limitations are. It's not always so necessary to go into the deepest experience and have like some crazy like ego death experience every time. That'll happen sometimes. Like the thing with the medicine is it's gonna kind of give you
what you need,
the level that you need each time. Like sometimes you'll drink a little bit, boom, it hits you hard. Other times you'll drink a big cup, kind of mellow, you know. Sometimes you need it just for a study, just to like connect with the medicine and open up. And then I find the chants, the sites are so profound because you're not really trying to study anything in particular except for just to stay focused and like meditate and hear every pronunciation of the site and everything. But then what can come through in those moments, the realizations about yourself and the depths that you can go just from being like concentrated and focused in within their chants is like
in that meditative
profound, you know.
Totally. For sure. Yeah, I've definitely had those, probably not as deep, you know, while drinking ayahuasca, but and in isolation doing dieta. But you know, I'm an active meditator, and chanting different mantras is, you know, I can definitely get into a really deep state, and like, you know, becoming an observer that I can just receive downloads.
Totally. Yeah, because drinking the medicine is just one way, you know.
Right.
You can do it through the breath work, through the meditation. Like there's many ways to get there, you know. Drinking the medicine is just one of them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Many tools, many pathways. What was one of the most intense, powerful dietas or moments that you've had in dieta?
My most intense and favorite and most powerful, profound dieta was the Yuchi diet, which is this chili pepper that they call Yuchi. And this diet is for, you know, like, so the first diet, the mama diet, is kind of for like opening up your voice and activating it, and you learn how to do the chants and things like that, you know. But then the Yuchi diet is the diet after that. It's this chili pepper, and that gives more precision, but it also gives a force to your word and to your thoughts, to where it kind of like gives you this level of like amplified manifestation with your words. And it actually then at that point when it allows you to where you can actually move the force, like move the energy of the chant with after you have this diet. It allows you to like really move the force of the chant with it. And that one was definitely my favorite. Just like so many profound ceremonies, so many like crazy downloads. Like I would be in times, you know, like just having like the craziest vision, seeing lots of the boa constrictors. The boa, the anaconda, is directly connected to the spirit of the ayahuasca. And so it's good when you have visions of seeing like snakes, like anacondas and stuff. It's actually a really good thing, you know. You shouldn't get scared about that. It's great. And I've had moments where I'm getting swallowed by a boa, like it's like a iridescent like rainbow serpent that like swallows me, and then I feel its energies kind of absorb into me. And like, you know, I was like in this ceremony there and had that experience, and then at the same time, it wasn't even like, oh, I'm gonna say a prayer now, but it was almost like lightning striking through on me, and like all these like super profound and deep prayers just started channeling through, like that would just be coming through in my mind, and like I could just feel the power and the force that they were carrying, and just like these super deep prayers, just one after another, and I was just kind of like, whoa, like where is this even coming from? Like it wasn't even like, oh, I'm gonna say a prayer now, like, oh, let me think of a prayer. It was just like coming through like like one after another, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I felt like after that specific ceremony, it was like such a crazy level up and an understanding of the power and the force of that diet. But then one of my craziest experience was just like actually also in the dieta, and we drank medicine, and before I was drinking full cups, like in the previous, we made ayahuasca one night, and I was drinking like full cups of the medicine each time that night. And then on this next night, like maybe the day after or 2 days later, we're having ceremony again. And something told me I didn't go full quite for the full. It was like 3/4, and I was like, yeah, drank that. And then they're still in the part where they're just chanting traditional in the voice, and it was just like the strongest, most crazy, intense, like visuals. Like it was like Alex Gray. Mm-hmm. It was like a very explosive, rapid fire Alex Gray painting roller coaster thing. Like to the point it was making me dizzy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I'm like getting nauseous now. Yeah. I'm like, I need to go purge. And for those that don't know, purge means like to throw up, and then when you throw up, it's good. It's like an energetic cleansing things that don't serve you anymore. But
then that leads me to my next question, because in some of the dietas, you're not allowed to purge, right?
Well, for the first 3 days of entering a diet.
Oh, for the first 3 days.
Yeah, you enter because it's like you planted that internal spiritual seed. And so for the first 3 days, you're not allowed to purge because you have to be nurturing and do this. And so for that Yuchi diet, for instance, the chili pepper one, it's the most incredibly hot thing ever. You have these chili peppers, and as soon as they crush them up and they put it in the clay pot with some of that kaisuma stuff, and you drink it down. And as soon as it hits your lips, it's just like fire all the way going down. You feel it down your throat, all down your esophagus, and then in your belly, just like churning on fire.
Oh my.
You're sweating. You feel it churning in your belly. You want to throw up so bad, but if you do, then you have to do it again. And you're just like, oh no. So you're just like breathing, trying to like, just like breathe into it, calm, like, and you're on medicine while you do this, while you're in the diet, while you enter the diet. It's a ceremony to enter. So you're drinking medicine, and then you just have to like hold on, and it's like
you just have to hold on.
Yeah, you just have to hold on tight. It's like 4 hours, and you can't drink water.
Oh, on 4 top hours of it all. With your mouth burning?
Yeah.
And no, because the medicine's probably also like amplifying the pain.
Probably,
right?
because things get a little more sensitive. Yeah. So you're just like, oh my gosh, don't throw up. Like no matter what, don't throw up.
So what happens if you puke?
Then you have to do it again.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So you're just like, don't puke no matter what.
Jesus.
Just hold on tight. I've been able to hold on tight. Thank God, so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's intense. But then, after 3 days, then you can purge.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, sometimes you'll be purging a lot in the dieta because you're going through like these super intense cleanses of energetic stuff from like even
cleansing
past
decades,
lives.
Past lives.
Like everything,
Family lineages.
Yeah, totally. So I actually, after my 3 days of not being able to purge, then like a lot of times in dieta, I'm purging a lot. Yeah. It's almost like per cup. If I drink 3 cups in the ceremony, it's going to be 3. If I drink 5, it's going to be 5.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you help guide people and bring them to the Amazon. Mm-hmm. What do you feel people need to know before they come? If they want to come, if they're interested in checking it out, what would you say?
I would say it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's like paradise, but with a lot of mosquitoes. So just be ready for that. I get like these long bamboo breathable long sleeve shirts, and I wear like the long pants, and I keep my socks and shoes on for the most part, and I stay covered, like have a shawl over my head. Mm-hmm. I keep a fan in my hand to like be like not having mosquitoes flying in, buzzing in your ear. So be ready for that. Be ready for a lot of rain at times. Be ready for a lot of intense heat and humidity. And be ready to also not have expectations. Jungle time is different. You can have a program set and an idea of your itinerary and your plan of how you think it's going to go, but sometimes things shift, and then you got to be okay with that, too. So just kind of letting go of expectations of what you think it should be or gonna be, and just be ready for levels of discomfort. Be just like ready, because there's different things. When you go to the retreats, it is a lot more comfortable. You're staying in the village. You'll like, be around more like enclosed, like in the accommodation huts. They have like mosquito nets along the window, like screening. And it is a little more comfortable. They have showers. They have like some flushing toilets and stuff like that. In the dieta, it's a different level, different story. You're going to bathe in a little creek. You're going to shit in a little hole. You're not going to drink water. You're going to eat very little food. So the retreats, there's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be a lot of fun, games, lots of awesome ceremonies, good times. It's more comfortable for that, But yeah, just be ready for kind of an intense atmosphere, but also one of the most beautiful, Yeah.
So you're about to lead, you're bringing on a group of people for dieta, and you are actually like, you are just organizing it, but you're not leading it.
I'm not leading. No.
You're just
I'm organizing the group to bring down there.
Down.
And Chief Mazzini will be the one leading the diet.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not even close to lead.
Yeah. Just to clarify.
Yeah. So just organizing the group.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Totally. When is that?
That's going to be January 8th to February 8th.
Okay, sick. And that is for people that are really experienced in this work.
Yeah. I mean, definitely you got to have some level of experience for sure. I wouldn't recommend if you just started in your path on the medicine to try to go into dieta. If you want to go down to the forest, and there's also right before the diet, there's the New Year's retreat. Like I recommend go to retreats first, where there's going to be like 3 to 5 ceremonies, and there's going to be plenty of food. You can drink water. They have clean water there. They got wells from an organization that came, and they put in nice filters, and they have wells and stuff like that. So that's a little more easygoing. You could just kind of experience going to the Amazon, experience the jungle. The dietas are definitely for more experience, and you need to have that firm determination of like, I'm gonna do this, and
understanding what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, understand what you're getting yourself into, because once you enter into diet, there's no changing your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk a little bit about your music.
Yeah.
How has music evolved since stepping into this path? Music evolved for you.
Right, yeah. It's evolved in a lot of ways. On one level, now I sing the chants, that I got past. I used to never be a singer. I've always been a rapper. I've been a hip hop artist, since I started rapping when I was 15 years old. Now I'm 36, so it's been quite some time. The stuff that comes through, like I honestly, I really hate the term conscious rapper or hip hop, but somehow my stuff got kind of categorized under that box. I consider it more. It's like, no, it's spiritual rap. I just the term conscious hip hop, but some of that can be really cheesy. Yeah, so I mean, I really don't like that term. I flow what's coming through my spirit, and like I'm not thinking too much about
channeling.
Yeah. It's kind of like I just open it up, I have my beat, or I'm freestyling. That's just kind of what tends to come out,
Seems like you're channeling divine consciousness, and what you're spitting is real, like, depth, truth of, like, life.
And then I like to do it, on, like, dope beats, so that it still sounds cool, but the messages that come through it is what it is, I'm not thinking, I'm going to make some conscious rap.
Yeah, just...
But somehow it kind of just, slipped into what people kind of consider that, you know?
I mean, once you're tapped in and doing the work that you're doing, you're not going to be fucking rapping and spitting about hella low vibrational stuff.
Yeah. So this is just kind of how
it's just where you're at.
Yeah, it's just how it's evolved and came out. And yeah, I just actually dropped an album last month on my birthday. And, I actually have a
Congratulations.
Feature. Thank you. Yeah, I have Rasu on there. It's the first ever Yawanawa hip-hop collaboration, you know? So yeah, people should check that out. Maybe we could link the Spotify or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Of
course. I'll definitely drop the link in the notes for sure. Cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the production is great. Actually, we also, it's submitted for the Grammys. So we're in the Grammy runner-ups right now.
You submitted your album for the Grammys?
Yeah, my album's submitted to the Grammys right now.
Oh, hell yeah, Kurt.
My producer's a member of the Grammy Recording Academy, so it's up for that, and we're about to be running a Billboard magazine ad for it for like the Grammy consideration.
Sick.
And yeah, the production is the best level that it's ever been on. I got a famous mastering engineer too that's worked with like Madonna, AC/DC, all these people that did the mastering, and like the production is just crazy, and just like the flows and the sonic aesthetics of the whole thing is just very dope and unique, and different singers from like there's like jazz style and rapid hip hop to even there's like a lo-fi type track on there. There's some, that are just like spiritual hyphy sound,
Sick.
Just bangers, So I'm really stoked on how
Congratulations.
It came out. Yeah, thank you.
I'm proud of you. Yeah, it's a trip. I feel like everybody that I know that's really dedicated to this path of medicine work is on this whole other level of like creativity and flow and inspiration and like confidence.
Yeah, I will say the medicine is very good for unlocking creativity.
And confidence too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just being comfortable being yourself, because I feel like you'll get into your most creative realms when you can just accept all that is and who you are, and you're just like, there's no blockages of how it needs to be, because you can just fully be yourself and express, and then the creativity is endless. And actually, a rapper that I used to work with, that I have an album with back in the day when I was still going by Kurt Kane, Young Gully, he once told me, people are always like, how can we make like an original thing? Let's do something original. And he's like, all we have to do is be your most authentic self, because you are original. Nobody's like you. So if you do you, then 100%. There you are. It's going to be original, and it's going to be your thing, So
100%.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. How do you stay grounded from all this? Once you come back, you go to the jungle, you're drinking ayahuasca every day, you come back to reality, and you're like, okay, now I have to integrate. How do you stay grounded, and how do you then, bring it into your everyday life and bring it into your music and your career? Like, because for me, it seems like that I would just be like, blast off drinking that much medicine. How do you keep your ground?
It takes a hot minute, you know. Like usually after I finish my dieta, I don't come straight back to Cali. I usually go somewhere else in Brazil, somewhere chill, like Alto Paraíso, where they got all the waterfalls and it's like chill, or like some little beach town where I can kind of just like ground in at the beach. And of course, like hape is one of my greatest tools that I use for grounding. And also I take a break. I take breaks from the medicine. I do my medicine work when I'm down there in the jungle, and I go deep, and I get the things that I learned that I need to work on. And then I come back here, and when I'm here, I don't drink medicine. I focus, and I get myself into a good routine. I continue my studies of the chants. I use my hape, but way more actually sparingly and intentional. In the diet, they're like, do a lot of hape all the time. And when I'm back here, I'll do it like once or twice a day, and each time I'm calling in groundedness, calling in a focus, calling in like, everything. And then I can sit and analyze the things that I learned that I need to work on within myself. And then it's just like practicing, like, okay, I realized I need to like switch this in my life. Okay, so do it, and do it every day. Like make small steps towards it. Like, actually you have to integrate it into your daily life, because if you're drinking all this medicine and I get big downloads and this was so great while you were in the ceremony, but then after you leave and then you just like don't adjust anything in your life, then it's kind of like, what's the point? It's kind of that point, you're just kind of getting high, and that's not the point. And then the medicine's not going to be working with you anymore at that point. Then it's gonna then you can start to lose yourself. So the integration is very important. It's important to give yourself breaks. It's important to go into like have moments to where you're like, let me just analyze, like close your eyes and go in and just give yourself like some self-analysis. Check in with your energy, check in like, okay, I realized like, maybe I was doing too much of this or that. Like, okay, so then making an actual point, like we're going to fix this and this can, this is going to help me improve. I feel like just life, the universe rewards you when you put in work,
Absolutely.
and when you make sacrifices. If you have things that you're using as a crutch in your life and all the time, like when you make sacrifices in life, then the universe comes and rewards you too. So it's important,
What keeps you devoted when life gets hard?
Just understanding, like coming back to the trust, I've been through so many hard things in my life, even way before, even since like a childhood. Like even like when I left home as a runaway when I was 14, I was leaving El Paso. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just like, all I know is that I got to change my reality. I can't be here in El Paso anymore. Like this life is no good for me. I'm going to be dead or in prison, like at a very young age with the way that things were for me back then. And I just left, and it showed up and ended up in Cali, ended up here in Nevada City. I got adopted by ganja farmers, and like it worked out in one of the best ways possible. So that, like at a young age, I kind of learned about, okay, I can trust in the universe. And like I've been through so many things like that where like it always has my back. And the meaning of life, at least in for me and where I'm at, is I got to be in some form of service. To be doing something that's a form of service, it's cool. You live your life just for you and do whatever. But like, if you can live your life in a way that can also serve something, like Chief Mazzini always says these words that I've held with me always. He's so wise, and he uses like these very tangible metaphors to explain things. Like he's like, look, like a river doesn't flow its water so that it can drink itself, or like a flower doesn't give off its essence and perfume for it to smell itself, or like a tree doesn't bear its fruit so that it can eat itself. It's all in this form of giving and service, and it's all free of charge. It's covered by love, and it's a good example of a way that you can be living in your life too, is just like find some path that you can be in a form of service to the rest of life, And so, just like remembering this just kind of always helps me stay in that devotion and understand like what I'm doing, like I felt like I received a big responsibility and a sense of purpose after connecting with Rasu and the Yawanawa, to where like, it's bigger than me. It's not for just me, like, because this is great that I get to do this. Like, it is great that I get to do this, but it's a big honor and a big responsibility that I have to remember that it's bigger than just me,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think we're going to leave it at that. That's powerful.
Nice.
Where can people connect with you?
On Instagram, maybe, or mainly. I need to step up maybe my social game a little bit, but yeah.
Where could they hear your music?
Hear my music on Spotify. It's Nai Katxa. That's NAI space KATXA. So with the indigenous language, the T and the X make a ch sound. So it's Nai Katxa.
Nai Katxa.
And then, my Instagram is Nai Katxa Music. That's NAI_KATXA Music. And you can find my Instagram there.
And we'll drop this all in the episode notes. So
drop the links, drop the notes. Yep.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Kurt.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.